Piracy is back in the news. Pirates off the coast of Togo have kidnapped 4 crew members from a Greek oil tanker. Just last weekend, a similar kidnapping took place in the waters of neighbouring Benin. In the last decade, Somali pirates threatened one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. International naval action plus armed security guards eventually reduced that threat. The last hijacking was 2.5 years ago. Well, now the Gulf of Guinea off the West African coast, part of what's known as Zone E in maritime law, is the high-risk area. I spoke to Dr. Ife Sinachi Yarwood, a research consultant at the Stable Seas Maritime Security Project and the National Defence College in Abuja, Nigeria. I asked her, what do we know so far?
What I know is currently what has also been reported that a Greek vessel was attacked off the coast of Togo. What I can say is that crews were taken off from the boat and one person was injured. And in terms of the technicalities of what happens or what have happened since then, I can't go into details because it's still an ongoing situation.
And what we learned from Somalia is that these are organized gangs. It's not just a few robbers who get together and buy a boat. This is an organized criminal enterprise.
I think, obviously, sort of trying to draw a nexus between what's happened off the coast of Gulf of Aden and what's happening in the Gulf of Guinea or West African waters, it's not actually the right way to go about it.
What is the difference then?
Well, to start with, Somalia at the time, was a failed state. Countries in the Gulf of Guinea are actually not failed. They are actively working to solve the problem or to ensure maritime safety and security in the region. To start with, we saw this with the 2013 coming together of heads of state of 25, 26 Western Central African nations to sort of address this issue. We can see also from the latest report of the IMB, that is the International Maritime Bureau, that incidences of piracy and armed robbery at sea is increasingly reducing in the region, with the third quarter showing that there's a reduction from 156 in the third quarter of 2018 to 119 incidents in the third quarter of 2019.
And in the case of the Gulf of Aden off Somalia, the involvement of international navies, Russia, the UK and others, that was part of the solution, or at least to bring it down to a very small level. I think the last kidnapping off the coast of Somalia was 2 years ago. Is that needed now, that Western navies should be involved?
It's not needed. Why? Because Somalia is Somalia. It is one nation. And of course, you could see that at the time, the political situation in Somalia is basically that it was a failed state at the time. Whereas you're talking about 20 countries that when they sort of bring their resources together, they can achieve something. Of course, Western support is needed, but not in the extent or to the level that we saw in Somalia. I believe that countries in West and Central Africa have the capacity to actually enforce maritime safety and security.
But you're saying they're not doing it. They've signed an agreement, but they're not coordinating. Why not?
As part of the memorandum of understanding that is signed by the multinational maritime coordination centers on E, which Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Niger is part of, they are supposed to establish a joint patrol, which would mean that these different nations are supposed to contribute their personnel and the vessels that can be used in the joint patrol. And this is something that is not yet happening. However, it is believed that at least by February 2020, hopefully, all the centers would become operational.
Dr. Ife Sinachi Yarwood, who's a research consultant at the Stable Seas Maritime Security Project